Now that you know how to create objects, okay, we'll begin to create a basic scene. Okay, we'll try to create a table with simple objects on the table. Okay, in the first place, we'll try to get a table by using a box. Okay, let's just click it here. Okay, under the geometry callout. Okay, click on the box. Okay, then we click once, let go. Okay, then drag up the mouse, click once, and then you're done. Okay, if you want, you can actually go to the modifier panel and change the size and dimension. Let's try to get a more generic number. Let's say 100 by 60, and then a height of maybe 4. Okay, then we can zoom in by using the scroll mouse button. Right. Okay, you can also maximize. Okay, let's bring up the move tool by pressing on W. Okay, and then move the tabletop up slightly. Okay, if you want, you can also move the tabletop by using the coordinate rollout here. Okay, we know now that this table is actually X units away from the origin, which is this center line here. Okay, this center grid here, this is 0, 0, 0. So we know that the table is X units, 4.79 units. Okay, we bring it to 0. Okay, now we know that it's extremely in the center. Okay, we know that Y is also 0. Okay, so it's now really in the center. If you skip to the other viewport, for example the top one, okay, if you can't see much, you can actually press G, okay, to hide the grid. Okay, press G again to bring back the grid, and you can see now that the table is in the middle, right? So we'll bring back the perspective view. Okay, and we'll create the legs for the table. Okay, to create the table legs is easier, okay, because you can actually use the duplicate tool, okay, to just do one table leg, and then you can move it to 4 places. Okay, let's create another box. Okay, I'll go to the top view again. Okay, again I press G. Oops. Okay, right click here first. Okay, I press G, and then I can maximize this. Okay, and then I'll zoom in. Okay, if you accidentally use the alternate key and try to orbit around your perspective or top view, okay, orthographic view, you can actually just press the letter T, okay, as the T is the capital for the top. Okay, so now let's just middle click and zoom in this area here. Okay, and we'll, because I've already created the box, okay, I've already clicked on the box in the create menu, I'll just drag. Okay, and maybe this is a good size. Okay, and then I just click again because I'm actually creating the height as well. Okay, so you can see from the front viewport. Okay, let me just click this off, or right click to end the creation process. Okay, now I'll turn off the grid again by pressing G. Okay, you see I've already accidentally pressed the alternate again, so let me just press F so that you come back to front view. Okay, then yeah, here this is the height. So just now actually I didn't really move up, so you can actually go to the modify panel, okay, and increase the height from here. Okay, let me make this very accurate. Zoom in again. Okay, okay, let me make this 25, so I can actually move this table. Okay, let me just move this table 25. Okay, you can see that the table is not at 25. You can see from the z-axis. Okay, so I will just move this down slightly, 0. Oops. Okay, so now that you see the table is exactly flush, okay, on top of the table legs. Now this is the easy part. Okay, I noticed that the table is a little bit big. Okay, so let me click. Okay, let me just select this. Okay, and then we can change the width and length to make it similar. Let's make it 5 by 5. Okay, and then you can slightly move it. Okay, you don't need to be to the end. Okay, maybe just leave a gap. Then we'll go back to our perspective view. Okay, and you can see, okay, that the table is done. Okay, we just need to know how to duplicate. Okay, so this is the easiest way to duplicate. Okay, the shortcut is while pressing shift. Okay, let's press the shift button on the keyboard, and then you click and drag in one direction, and you can see, okay, that the table legs has been duplicated. Okay, when you let go of the mouse button, it will also ask you whether you want to make a copy, instance, or reference. Now the difference between these three, okay, we'll not cover reference for this time at this time. Okay, I'll just show you the difference between copy and instance. Right, copy will make a copy. Okay, as many as you want. Actually, if you want to make 2, 3, okay, you can specify it here. Now let's just click OK and see what's the difference between copy and instance. Right, so copy will make an exact duplicate, but what happens if I want to change the height of this leg? Okay, the copied version will not follow the original leg. Right, so in this instance, if I just undo for a while, okay, I'll just delete this and I'll press shift again and then move it to the other side. Now this time around, I'm just going to click on instance. Okay, and then I click OK. Now the difference is, if I decided to change the height of my table leg, okay, you can see that the instance copy is also following the original. So this is good for our case. Okay, so we'll make use of this copy. Okay, let me just go to the top view. Okay, and let me inspect this. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, so make sure that it's nice and equal. So let me just move it down slightly. Okay, so you have an equal mirror. So this is actually a good time to actually duplicate this table legs. Right, so let's click on this and then control and click on the other table legs. Right, so by pressing control, you see that you can select more than one object, okay, as we've done in the previous lesson. Now let's press shift while selecting both, right, and just move them, okay, because this is a duplicate. And I'll just press instance again, click OK, and go back to our perspective view, and you can see that we have a beautiful table. Okay, let me just turn off this view cube. Okay, my preference is to turn it off. Okay, I suggest that you turn this off after you get used to, okay, the viewport itself. Right, so I just click home. Okay, I'll turn this off by right clicking, just configure it, and then I'll say don't show the view cube, click OK. Yeah, okay, so this is our table. Let's create something on the table. Okay, let's create some teapot. Okay, I'll create a teapot from here. Okay, there's a history about why a teapot is amongst this primitive. Okay, I'll just mention it briefly while I'm moving this up. Okay, you can see that it's good to change views while you're moving the objects. Okay, I'll just hide the grid again. Okay, you can just click and make sure it's on top. Okay, the teapot is actually the first actual 3D object that has been created. Okay, because of its intricate parts, you can see there's a, a round object, a long object, something that's okay, very polygonal, right? So it was a good candidate to become a guinea pig, so-called, okay, to become a 3D object. So this was the first 3D object that was created, right? So you can see in some softwares, for example, I'm not sure whether Maya has this, okay, but if you use 3D Max and maybe some other software like Softimage, okay, they might be able to give you this teapot as well, right? Otherwise, you can always recreate it, right? Okay, so now let's create maybe a donut. So let's create a torus. Okay, and go to the top view for this. Okay, we create a donut. Okay, you have to click twice. Okay, and let's create a plate for this. So let's click on a cylinder, click a plate for this. Okay, you notice that I'm actually viewing from the top view, so you can't see me actually creating the height, right? So if you want to do that, you can actually go back to your left viewport. You can move this on top, right? So I personally like to work in the perspective viewport. Okay, so okay, this is a very primitive plane. Okay, I'll teach you how to create a better looking plate, okay, in the future lessons. Okay, but for now we'll just make do with this. Okay, I just want to make another donut for this. Okay, let's say one is not enough for me. Okay, I'll make it an inst, or maybe I'll make a copy. Maybe one of my donut is a different size. I just rotate it slightly. Okay, and just move it on top of the other one. Okay, so to make it more realistic. Okay, and maybe my plate is slightly small, so I'll just click on the radius, make it bigger. Okay, even my teapot is slightly small, so yeah, so maybe this is better. Maybe I'll shift it slightly, okay, just to give it a little nice composition, right? Then let's see what else we can do. Okay, let's create something else. Okay, let's create another cylinder. Okay, and we will try to imagine, right, that this is a cup, okay, or a teacup. Okay, so we'll just bring it up. Okay, maybe it's a little bit too big, but we'll adjust it later on. Okay, with the modifier panel you can always change it, height, right, and you can always change the color if you want. Okay, although this is not the actual way to change color, I will cover this in a future lesson. Okay, but you can actually just click on this cube here. Okay, and you can just change the color from there, right, just for temporary, just to see the difference, right? And that's how you create a basic scene.